Okay. What's up? It's Phil from Fit World Exposed. In today's episode, we have an extremely special guest, Matthias Schlitte. He's a multiple arm wrestling champion, weighing at 154 from Germany. He has tons of recognition worldwide, and he's just a freak of nature to say the least. So a lot of you guys probably saw him on other YouTube channels, but managed to get him here, and we're just going to talk about arm wrestling, and it's just a very badass sport in my opinion. So I know that this channel is really about, body transformation, getting jacked, and also getting strong. But from time to time, I like to bring some exclusive guests in. And who doesn't like arm wrestling? It's a super masculine sport. You're at a bar, you're just at a friend's house, and you're basically just fighting with your arms. So he's gonna give us some very informative tips on how to become a better arm wrestler. If you've never arm wrestled a day in your life, you're gonna benefit a lot from this. Gonna give us some tips on how to build bigger forms, better, stronger grip. So, how you doing today, bro?
I'm good, thank you.
So, is there anything I missed in the introduction? Anything you want to add to the...
No, all good. Maybe you just missed my massive forearm, but that's it. That's
see the other
all
one?
good.
So what's your current measurement for the...
I guess at the moment it's like 44 centimeter, so here around, but I don't know how much inch it would be, but it's many inches.
It's around
Many
8, that's
inches.
around 18, I think, 18 and a half.
Probably, yeah, I guess so. Sounds right to me, yeah, but it depends on how much pump it is. And I just came back from the Christmas break, so I'm just freshly back in training, and so I guess it's getting bigger and bigger every day now.
Nice, bro. So so you mind explaining about how this happened? Like you're basically just born with it? It's like a condition?
Yeah, so it was always like it's a very rare genius defect. It's called Klippel-Trenaunay-Weber syndrome. So for me, it's always hard to remember this name.
Mhm.
So and it's very very seldom. And it was just my when I was born, and the nurse came to my mom and laid the baby Hellboy to her, and the nurse just said, "Oh, I guess your son will be a boxer in the future." And so I don't get a boxer, but I get an arm wrestler. So it was always a little bit bigger, but it was the rest is training. So it's like a good base, but not more
And how old were you when you started just
training.
for fun,
For fun,
arm
depends
wrestling?
on stuff. It's like, everyone tested it when I was like a kid in kindergarten or like in school, but seriously, I started with 16 years. So from this, I started my professional career, but before it was just for fun, like always.
Nice, bro. And do you do right arm only meets or competitions, or do you do other arm too, or?
I do the other one. I'm on the left side. I was like fifth or sixth place in Germany, like German nationals, but I'm not as good, of course, with the left than with the right. And with the right, I do the heavy stuff, the international competitions, and so yeah. But I do everything. Yeah.
Okay, so I've noticed you throughout your career, you stay at the lower class for the most part. Do you?
It's not for me. It's like I'm like a thin guy, so I've always like 154 pounds, 160 pounds, but not more. And I don't want to stay as lighty, but for me it's hard to gain some weight because I have this kind of ectomorphing body type, and that's why for me it's hard to gain some weight. So I don't want to keep it so low, but it's hard for me to gain some weight.
Mhm. Okay, that's crazy. Okay, so let's get into the questions now. So the first
Sure.
first question is, let's say if you take a guy who's never arm wrestled a day in his life,
Yeah.
right? Like, what are the basics, like arm wrestling for dummies, like the basic moves, explain the basics, like the hook, side
Sure.
pressure, whatever.
So the I guess the biggest differentiate between normal arm wrestling and professional arm wrestling is we do it on this kind of measured arm wrestling table, and we are standing, so we are don't sitting, and that's why in professional arm wrestling you use your whole body. That's the biggest differentiate, I guess so. And I guess the biggest advice or the most important is to keep your forearm as close as possible to your upper arm. So you always have to don't let it open, so just keep it close as possible. So that's the basic part, and always like to keep it focused. Just watch your hand. Always watch what you're doing. So never bend off your arm. Just keep it watching on your hand. And yeah, as you said, that there are some basic techniques. There's, for example, the hook, where you bend your wrist and open the hand of your opponent. And there's like the top roll, where you use the part up your thumb and you try to open the fingers of your opponent. So that's especially like a technique for guys with long leverage and bigger guys, taller guys. And the short guys always like prefer the hook because they're falling on. And there are some different like mixtures like hammer or like side pressure just to go over the sides, but that's the basic techniques. But there are so many different varieties of this, but that's all the really, really basic stuff. Always like, but most important, keep your arm as close to your upper arm as possible and bend your wrist.
Interesting. Because in Montreal, where I live in Canada, we actually have one gym, just only one gym that I've seen so far out of like the 20 I've been to, where we actually have like arm wrestling tables and like people are actually like, you know, like competition tables. And I even posted a video of me arm wrestling, like beating a guy like at this gym. And everyone some like arm wrestlers in the comment section were telling me, look, you're more of like a hook guy, you know? But so are you telling me that the hook is more like you're kind of like you're doing more of a wrist curl and you're kind of just like
exactly.
Top roll, it's more of like a
like open. So you use your, especially like you use your leverage, and then you try to open because with the hook you use more your wrist, and with the topple you use your hand and the area up your thumb. Because if you're here, have like big, strong string hands, and then you're tall, then you're good at the top roll.
Interesting.
So and especially if you like have short arms or like not as long leverage, and it's always better to use the hook because the way is much closer to just fall on and your wrist, like wrist curl.
Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about like programming, because obviously like at the level you're at, you know, an advanced arm wrestler. Let's say you take like compare the two, like compare a bodybuilder where, you know, they come in the gym, they're doing like their body part split, you know, chest, tricep, back, bicep, leg, shoulder, trap, arm, whatever they do. And then you take a professional arm wrestler who's obviously going to the gym too. What would your week like consist of? Like, is there any leg work? Is it like you mind explaining like what like a regular week could be without getting into too many details?
Yeah, sure. It depends, especially like in which time of the year we are. So we are just starting like after Christmas to get back in shape, or we are just try to get ready for big competition like World Championships or whatever. But what I do, it's like at the beginning of the season, I try to build up some basic endurance, like just cycling and running, so on. So like normal endurance work on and cardio stuff, and especially at the beginning. So I have like a program with 3 different areas or 3 different varieties. So the first one is just normal gym work, like you said with the bodybuilding stuff. So just normal rehearsals, normal exercise for breast, for chest. So like the normal stuff, butterfly stuff, like I was doing in the gym. That's completely, so I don't have to explain this, I guess. So that's, and also like some leg work to keep your legs stable and your hips stable. As I told you, it's like we are doing the whole arm wrestling stuff standing, and that's why it's important to have a stable stand. Yeah, and the second part is you have also like exercise in the gym, but you do like special exercise for arm wrestling. It's like, for example, this curl stuff. We always use like hammer curls. So it's like, especially if you are like a top roller like me, it's good like to keep the hammer curls, and it's like to straight your ability to do the top roll. That's all stuff. And we also do like preacher curls. Pull-ups are very good exercise, and especially when we do like pull-ups, we do it like this. We do it like this, and then to get it out of the wrists, to straighten the wrists here, and then to do the pull-ups. So, and that's like also like a good way to build up your forearms. And yeah, what else? And especially some stuff with ropes on. So like when you do it on the tower, and then you tie a rope around your hand, and then like to do the exercise with a rope, with a thick rope, is another good exercise. And yeah, and the third, and for me the most important part, is just sparring. So if you want to be a good arm wrestler, arm wrestle. And that's why we meet in clubs, and then we do sparring against other guys, heavier guys from other weight classes to build up the endurance for the sport and to rehearse and to exercise some different techniques. And that's, for me, it's the most important part of the whole program, the sparring.
Interesting. Okay, so a few side questions now. So when you're
Sure.
doing your arm wrestling training where it's like the hammer curls and all that stuff, do you have days where it's like, hey, you're gonna go like stupid heavy, like maybe like 1 rep maxes, 2 rep maxes, and then other days where it's like very high rep, like hammer curls and stuff? Or it's just like,
It's like when I start with the season I usually try to build up my endurance, and that's why I use not as heavy weights but more repetitions. So for example, now I'm just started my season. Now at the moment I do like per set like 12 to 20 reps, and then not as high weight. And when I get closer to competition, so normally I do 10 days prior competition, I just do a break. So I just pause and do a break. But especially like the last 2 weeks before competition, where I'm training, I use just very minor reps, just like 2 to 6 reps, and then with very heavy weights. So that's like how
it cut off a bit. You hear me? Sorry guys, technical difficulties. Yeah, it's good?
okay.
Yeah, it's good. It just cut off. It just cut off for a sec.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah, I guess so. So go on, please.
Yeah, yeah, it happens. It happens on Skype, whatever. Okay, anyway,
No
so
problem.
um, you mind just telling the audience, because obviously the audience like they lift weights and stuff. What are the kind of like lifts that you have to arm wrestle? Like, you mind telling us like your dumbbell wrist curl, hammer curl, and reverse curl numbers?
With the weights, or what you mean? So
Like
how many?
like 1 rep maxes, like 1 rep maxes, and like maybe
Ah,
like
okay, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So in general, it's like you cannot for I guess the good record I would have is like, especially like we do this kind of hammer curls, but when I heavy weights and I put it on a bench, because otherwise I will kill my back, and I guess my record on this is like 100 157 pounds. So, but just a very small angle, just lifting up to build up the biceps and to keep it as close as possible. And yeah, the rest of the stuff like hammer curls, maybe like it's maybe like without a bench, maybe like at 32 kilos. Don't know how much is it in pounds at the moment. So, but that's the only stuff I really do on maximum weight. So not as impressive, but it's coming so much out of the movement and out of the sparring. So that's why the arm wrestling guys are not hunting for records in any weights, I guess.
No, for sure.
So yeah, but that's the only thing I can maybe it's like impressive, but it's it's always like I'm just at the moment at 160 pounds or something, so it's always like limited on your body weight and not on the size of your arm. So it's the same.
Nah, but a table curl, which you just said, with 157
Yeah,
pounds, and you're weighing
yeah,
pretty much close, like you're pretty much table
yeah.
curling
My
your
weight,
body.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's still a lot, bro. What about the wrist curls?
Yeah,
That's what I'm curious about. Like, let's say if you were to put like you were to sit down on a bench and have like a dumbbell in your hand and just have it like,
yeah.
you know,
Okay.
like you have your wrist hanging off the bench. How much do you think you could wrist curl like that?
Maybe like 50 kilo something.
50 kilo? Okay, that's still amazing, bro.
Yeah, yeah. But if I would have to special like train on this stuff, maybe I can do more. But it's like hard to. It's good, I guess. So,
No, for
but
sure.
if I had to do some special training on it, or if there would be like a record on a wrist curl, but maybe I have to check, and then you can give it to the audience on Instagram or
Yeah, why
or on
not?
YouTube,
Yeah.
then I can tell you the weight next time.
What about the sparring work? Like how often? So how many days you're actually in the gym, like lifting weights, and how many days per week are you actually sparring? Like, and for how
So
long?
when
How
I
long
when
do your sparring sessions usually last? Like how many like sparring matches would you have on average?
I, depends on. So especially like on the big competitions like World Championships, huge European Championships, and I train like 5 to 6 times a week, 1 to 2 hours, so quite intense. And at the gym or for sparring, I'm like 2 to 3 times a week. So like two
Okay.
to 3 days a week are completely for sparring, and the rest of the stuff is like combination on gym work, as I told you at the beginning, or like special exercise in the gym. Yeah, and the sparring sessions are quite intense. So it's like you cannot do sparring for 2 hours, let's say, because you're dead after, completely
No,
dead.
for
So
sure.
I really came home after sparring and I couldn't lift my toothbrush. I was like doing like toothbrushing like this, and yeah, the sparring stuff. It's like we sometimes we do like a round robin where when you keep winning, you stay on the table and the rest is circling and fighting against you, and then sometimes you use like do it for speed, so like very fast starts, and sometimes we just do it.
Hmm. Yeah. It cut off a bit. It's okay.
You got the last part or it doesn't cut off?
Pardon me?
You got the last part or was it cutting off?
No, I got the last part. Yeah.
Brilliant, good,
To,
good.
to, to the audience, like it's the second time it cut off. The guy's not next door either. He's in Germany. He's literally on the other side of the planet. There might be a bit of bugs
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah, we are here from Eastern Germany, so we are fresh out of the communism. So
Probably it'd probably take me 24 hours to by plane to come see you. But so you're far away.
yeah,
So
but
let
you're in Canada at the moment, yeah?
Montreal, yeah,
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 because I plan like a US and Canada trip, so I will be on your continent in end of September to October, and I plan to visit Seattle and Vancouver, and if any arm wrestlers or some guys want to do something, then I'm open
Oh yeah.
mind. Yeah, yeah, sure.
Maybe you could arm wrestle my buddy Alpha Destiny. He
Sure.
he likes
Bring
arm
bring him.
wrestling.
Yeah,
More on
we
that
can figure
soon.
something out. Yeah, that's my shout out.
Yeah. We'll see what the future holds. But like,
Yeah,
let's talk like this is the money question that everybody wants to know is
yeah.
what are some exercises for building bigger forms? You know, like
It's maybe like if you don't have like a genius defect like me,
yeah,
then you
yeah.
have to go to the gym. Yeah, but some exercise like the hammer curls are good. Then I like pull ups, which is like good, like this way. I told you, and especially like the basic dumbbell walk, or especially like if you don't lift the curls, the wrist curls like this, just hold the hand still like
Reverse.
this. Yeah, that's always like good, and yeah, maybe like stay free and not so like do it with old-fashioned dumbbells and not the machines. Also, like this rope stuff is like having like thick ropes and just pop, 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 pop. It's for me it's hard to translate, but that's the good stuff. Always like if you to deal with power and movement and then to keep it stable with your forearms, that everything. Or you need a genius defect.
And what do you think about fat handle work? Like, do you recommend that people who are really like trying to chase maximum form size should do all their curls with like fat grips, like a 2.5 or 3 inch?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like if you have like sick, because I know when I use like the fat grip stuff, it's like so embarrassing because you're coming down or you're started at 25 kilo and then you do like the fat grips and you have a hard time to get it like with 10 kilo stuff. So it's like pretty not good for the karma, but it's good, and especially it improves your grip range as well. So I can recommend the fat grips, but depends on if you have like smaller hands, and it's hard to keep the handles even moving. So depends how strong and how big are your fingers, but I can recommend fat grips.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about now like the lats because I've talked to a couple arm wrestlers in the past and they've said that like lat engagement is one of the most important things in arm wrestling. So you mind telling like the viewers and myself what are some of the best tips that you could use or some cues to really engage the lats to really keep that arm close to you?
It's like the whole stuff is with as I told you, when you do like the bench curls or the curls on the bench and like to keep your forearm as close as to your biceps, then it's always like a good. What is the meaning? So like yeah, what I wanted to say. Yeah, the lats, and I guess the best exercise. Honestly, is just arm wrestling, and just if you like do some arm wrestling stuff or working um, on big dumbbells. Yeah, I don't know the English expression, but you always they're like this dumbbells. Yeah, the big one.
Yeah,
And always like this dumbbells where it's like a form like an H, like the letter H where you can grip in and
yeah,
just
yeah,
do
yeah.
this movement. Yeah, that's always like a good exercise to keep your arms as close. That's the exercise I use.
But are your lats like cramping up before like when you're doing like these big matches? Are you really like your lats are probably like really cramping when you're pulling or before and after
Yeah.
just in general?
Uh, that stuff. It's like, or like, I guess it's the whole the last stuff. I mean, in general, I guess they don't like special exercise for arm wrestlers, just the normal lat stuff at the gym is doing. So there's no, I guess you're strained it automatically because when you're pulling, then your whole body is in power and under pressure, and then I guess you always automatically you build up the lats.
Okay.
So that's the thing, but I don't do so many special lat work like.
Okay. So you're saying you train your lats more through like sparring as opposed to doing like
Exactly. Yeah.
a lot of rows and stuff like that.
Yeah. So if you have to, for example, if you like do the sparring with heavier guys, you always have to deal with the power of the more mass and more power, and then you
That's
automatically
it.
try to block it, and then you feel the pain and you feel the pressure here for a lot. So that's I guess that's the best work to build up your arm wrestling muscles.
Okay. So let's talk
Yeah.
about like we just talked about lats now. Let's go lower down the body like foot stance. Like how do you really like
Yeah.
use your leg drive and stuff like that and like you use like the right stance for like your for whatever arm you're using to your advantage to like to win matches.
Yeah. When you're most important is like stay as in my opinion is like you have to stay wide. So especially as I told you with the arm wrestling, you use your whole body. So it's like important if you have like a wide stand, then you can block always. Like for example, if I'm pulling on the right hand, then you go like blocking and then you go in the direction of the guy who's stronger than you and you try to block. So don't stand like this, stay always close, and go with the movement. And especially like when you want to block him, then you have to keep your foot always like in front. So if you pull with the right hand, then keep your right foot under the table but wide standing. And the same is like if you're pulling like with the left hand, keep your left foot in front of it and wide. And that's because when you have like your foots are very close to each other, then you cannot move properly, and then you have not stable in your stand, and you can't block even more. Because then you get to the movement that you get open, and then you cannot block.
Okay.
So that's the most. And with a it's like with a leg press, and this is the normal like exercise for bodybuilding stuff and so on. There's no different leg work on arm wrestling. So just sparring and the usual stuff. So, but I heard also like from many arm wrestlers who are not all like I do like cycling, so it's not like the heaviest work, but just to keeps the blood rushing and get a little bit endurance. But honestly, I don't do so much leg work. So sometimes or often I skip like day. Shame.
Okay. Okay. So so you don't need like a lot of arm wrestlers basically don't squat like.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's not specific enough, you know, but like it makes sense, you know. Okay, let's talk about like injuries. Obviously, to make it to the top of arm wrestling, I'm sure like I could only imagine how much injury prevention is important because you know you only have two arms. Well, if you look at a lot of top
Yeah,
arm wrestlers, you know you notice that a lot of them only do like one arm competitions because the other ones just fucked up. So it's like,
yeah, yeah.
what's your best tip for someone who's really trying to just stay in the arm wrestling game for the long run and just not like prevent as many injuries as possible?
It's like it's more like the basic tips for guys who want to begin. So the thing is, I mean, arm wrestling can be very dangerous, especially like you can torsion your upper arm, so that's like the worst injury you can get. So it's not like, but when you're like a professional arm wrestler, for example, on let's say big competitions, we have like maybe like 1,000 sportsmen, and you have like don't know many fights, and you have just like two arm breaks on those big competitions, which is not too much if you like compare it to like NFL, how many games they have and how many breaks they have. So it's like not unusual, and the whole stuff is when you keep or especially when you block, like you go after your arm and block it, and if you're positive, go with your arm, use your whole body, and watch your hand, watch what you're doing, and not like turning away from your body. Because when you're always like turning away, then it's getting here very very dangerous to you because there's no movement, and then you break your upper arm, and yeah, that's the most important, and yeah, stay injury free. It's like watch your arm and don't turn away. So that's especially like from the arm wrestling movement. That's the best advice I can give. And yeah, but sometimes you cannot. It's like they always like keep your body warm, then warm up properly, and do some flexing. That's important. But sometimes you cannot avoid like when you like um,
Hmm.
rip like a small tendon can always happen. So you cannot avoid this really, but that's the only thing, and so like the only basic advantage is like drink much water and keep be careful with inflammation so that you don't get any inflammation of your wrists. Then stop it. That's the only or like do break. So it's the normal advice I would give to every sportsman. Yeah,
Okay, so you're basically saying like you really want to look at that hand like the whole time.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just watch your head. That's most important, and yeah, and try to keep your or try to bring the whole the whole movement, or like try to remember the whole movement and arm wrestle as much as possible, that you get an idea, and that's like getting automatically how to do the right movement. So just always come from repetition, repetition, repetition with everything.
Okay. I was watching an arm wrestling seminar with Devin Larratt, and he was saying
Yeah,
how he's not. I don't know if his stance changed on this, but it was like an old seminar, and he's saying how he wasn't
yeah,
that big on side pressure, how it could be potentially be very dangerous if you use it very excessively. So he was saying how he still used it just like a tiny bit to finish off the match, but he doesn't go like all
yeah,
out on the side pressure because it could like damage the shoulders and like stuff of that nature. So, what's your
yeah.
take on side pressure? You think it's like it could be dangerous? Do you think it's even worth training, like doing side pressure work, like in training? What's your
I guess with the whole side pressure team, it's like it's good if you win the match. So like if you like get full throttle on side pressure and then you win the match, it's brilliant. But as if somebody stops you at some point and you cannot go on, and then there's a movement is stopping, then it's getting dangerous, like the whole stuff. For example, I guess if you're just doing the side pressure and your wrist is not strong enough, then you cannot go on. I guess that's always like what Devin is talking about. So I guess side pressure is very important, but I wouldn't bet on the whole side pressure scene, because without a proper wrist and a proper arm, then it can be like that you're stopping here, side pressure is strong, but they open your arm and then it's getting dangerous.
yeah? And
Yeah, so it's like
yeah, but it's funny because I remember like there's like a bowling alley near my house, and they have like an arcade. And I've been to a lot of arcades too, you know, in Montreal. And this is the only, probably one of the only arcades I've been to that actually has like an arm wrestling table, you know, like
okay,
where
yeah.
you're playing against the machine, and the only option is side pressure. You know, it's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
going here, it's going here, and like
yeah. It's It's and it's just coming out of the arm, and there's no electronic wrist you can bend. So that's the problem. It's like you're pulling against a stick and not against a human arm. So
it's hard.
normally you are. I did this stuff a lot of times, and always like give me a lot of trouble. And always like my friend said, "But you're a professional arm wrestler." But yeah, but that's no arm. That's a piece of metal.
It's like metal
There's nothing
stick.
to bend. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the thing. It's like I find it pretty dangerous. Like everybody who does it, like at the arcade, like they always complain about like because if you're going all out on the side pressure.
Yeah, and all out of the arm, so there's no body work on it. So it's like faster. Yeah.
So here's a good question for you. Let's say somebody wants to like train a bit for arm wrestling, but they don't have access to a table. What's the safest way? Like, is it to like kind of put like a towel on a table and get like some sticks and like so that way your elbow isn't really on like any like super hard surface?
Yeah, it's for me. I just can say from the arm wrestling world, there are so many guys have problems with the elbows because we have just the elbow and then some tendons on, and literally there are so many guys who have always like, and we're pulling on pads, so on pads who are not like a table plate, so not as hard as, but I guess I would also have like some breaks here, small minor breaks in the elbow area, and Michael Todd, who's like always like a very good arm wrestler from the US. He's not like an elbow, it's not like a point, it's more like a bunch. So he had like 54 arm minor breaks in his elbow, and it's not looking like a point anymore. It's looking more like a quarter. So it's literally getting really wide of the breaks. And yeah, for guys who are not having access to a table, it's like it's like building like as you saw as you said. Put a rope under it or put like a towel under it, so not getting too solid for the elbow. And I guess it's like doing it standing, so like don't do it over the corner with your body, the arm wrestling stuff. So like do it like standing. I guess it's kind of I know we want to get back from the image of arm wrestling in bars, but a bar is a good way for arm wrestling, especially like from the high end, that you can face each other. It's good. Over the corner, not good. And on the solid table plate, not good.
Okay. I guess like if you're a serious arm wrestler, you gotta just invest in the table.
Yeah, that's the best variety, or even like do it on a fitness bench. Is always like they always like have some pads on it that can also work, but please don't do it over a wooden table plate over the corner. It's bad. Really bad. So.
Okay, we've got like two more questions and we'll wrap it up. What's your take on, let's say if you're like I'm like 230 pounds, right? So it's like I'm a bit on the heavier side. What would you tell a guy like me, or just heavier people in general, who want to be able to use their weight to their advantage when they're arm wrestling?
Yeah.
Is there any tips or?
Now, I would say it's like weight, because you stay in your weight category. So, or normally, if you stay in your weight category, then your opponents nearly have the same weight. But especially, it more depends on your leverage and your height. So, if you like have long leverage, like long arms, it's good to use the hook techniques, and especially because most of the heavy guys using the hook techniques, and especially if you're like a heavy guy, because normally in the arm wrestling world, the lighter classes are much faster than the heavier classes. So like they have like flashes, and the heavier guys are a little slower, especially because we have this ready go and then the fight is starting. And for example, if you're like a heavier guy and you work on your speed, on your how fast you can start the match, then it's like a good advantage to the other heavy guys. So that would be a good advantage. And yeah, the heavy guys are always good in the hook, and that's the best techniques for the heavy guys is the hook.
Okay.
So, but man, everything is a war on style. So for every style, you have like a good style to fight this. So there are humans on the table, so it's not like you're not fighting like a special weight, you're fighting like a human, and it's like always with techniques, tactics, speed, experience, it's everything. So there's no like you have to do this like then you're successful. Always not. Just keep arm wrestling and try to get a weapon for every style.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about. Got like two more questions to wrap it up. Okay, let's talk about arm wrestling and drugs, right? Because obviously, any sport you're in, especially like these kind of like these strength sports, like powerlifting, strongman, whatever, drugs are like a a big factor, especially at like the higher level, right? And I'm sure from time to
Yeah.
time you'll have to play against some guys, whether it's for fun, maybe even competition, where it's like they're on a bunch of stuff, a bunch of
Sure. Yeah.
enhancement
Yeah.
drugs. Like how how much of an edge does this really give you in arm wrestling? Because from what I'm hearing from you, and from like watching your videos, like you're not like the biggest guy on the planet either, but you have your technique is down packed, your timing is like right on point, and you're just technique overall, and just like years and years in the game. Like how important is that? 'Cause, like technique, speed, timing, and like factors like that, as opposed to just like raw strength. And like for guys
So
who are
it's
like on
like
drugs.
the problem is like I cannot say how big is the difference in arm wrestling between guys who are on drugs and between guys who are not on drugs. So that's the point. I don't know because in my opinion, if you're not talented and if you're not experienced or don't have a good technique, the drugs will not make you a good arm wrestler. But especially if you're like always like a good arm wrestler and then you take let's say drugs or let's say anabolica or whatever which is giving you more strength in some exercise because for this sport technique is very important as you said experience and speed but the raw strength is always like the base for everything and I don't know how much difference will be on drugs and off drugs so I guess if you're just doing exercising and doing drugs it will not give you it will not make you a good arm wrestler. So that's all stuff. And I know because I just can say from the European and World Championships, like the amateur European and World Championships, that like drug screening and testing. But there are also like many competitions who are not testing, and there are many guys on juice or whatever, and but these guys are not always on top. So it depends on. It's like with every sport or with every like competing or fighting sports. If you are not good in the sport and not talented, then the drugs will not give you or not make out of you a good arm wrestler.
Mm. Okay. So it's really about having that base first, and then the drugs come later, I guess. Like,
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's everything. Like maybe there are some, but in my opinion, if you like get everyone on drugs in the arm wrestling world, I guess the same guys would be on top like now because they are already the best guys in the world, and if you put them on drugs or off drugs, they're still the best. So that's because I guess it's not dominated from some guys who are because they're on drugs. It's because they are the best arm wrestlers. That's the point.
mm, I
So it's
kind of,
like, for
yeah.
example, if you like putting let's say a good basketballer or like a brilliant basketballer on the racks, then he's still the best. But you'll have a guy who's not talented in basketball. It will not make him the best basketballer because he's now a little bit better in endurance because of the racks or whatever. So it's always like the same stuff if you're like fighting like humans and not weights
Hmm.
or highs measurements.
I kind of look at arm wrestling kind of like gymnastics in the sense that gymnasts are very strong, but the amount of technique that goes into like gymnastics, where like you could take all the drugs you want, but it's not gonna help you do like
Yeah,
20 flips on rings and
exactly,
like land
exactly. Yeah.
properly.
Yeah. And it's the same like if you're like a heavy guy and you want to get like boxing champion in the heavyweight, then it will not make him the boxing champion because he's able to do more weights than the other guy. So it's like it's too complex from the movement. And I guess
Mm.
when you talk about the gymnastic stuff and so on, many guys who are not, for example, it's a good example that you brought on. the gymnastic guys who are like doing it very, very in a young age, always like when they are retiring from gymnastics, and the same with judo and some stuff. There are many of these guys are doing now arm wrestling because you can do it to a much higher age than gymnastics and stuff. So it's like if you have like a good base in strength, let's say boxers, gymnasts with the wrist stuff and so on, so they're used to use their hands and their wrists. It's like a good base for the arm wrestling stuff, but it's not coming from drugs, honestly. It's coming from the movement and from the exercise they did before, not of drugs. Yeah.
So you're saying if you have like a gymnastics background, it could carry over well to like an arm wrestling.
Yeah,
later on.
So if you do like, or if you're based on classical like Olympic wrestling or boxing, it's always like they are used to work with their hands, or they're used like to do pull-ups and some stuff. It's always like a good base for arms and stuff. So that's a good point if you want to do like a second career after your gymnastics, or go to arm wrestling. You are happy welcome.
But the same thing with lifters too. Like let's say if you have a bodybuilder, you know, he's been doing like curls, like pull-ups, like wrist curls all his life. Like he's gonna have a decent base for arm wrestling too if he decides to go that route too, no?
Of course, it's like it's as I told you, the whole base for the stuff is strange, and if you have the strange, then you just have to get used to the technique and to the movement and to the sparring, and then. But it's like if you're used to spend hours in a bloody, sweaty gym, then you're good for the arm wrestling, I guess, also because you're used to the gym air. So
yeah.
For the competitions, it's like competitions are nice, but the exercise and the what's the word? Give me just a second to translate to myself. The preparation, and the preparation and the exercise for the competitions is like always gym work. So gym work, and it's very often, as you know, from the sometimes it's not funny as playing football, playing basketball to run around in a sweaty hot gym when your friends playing outside football. Sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it's not makes fun, but that's the way you choose.
I want to know though, out of curiosity, like you said you're gonna come travel a bit. Like if let's say if you were to come to Montreal, right? Like in Montreal, it's hockey on hockey on hockey. Like that's what people are obsessed about. That we got the Montreal Habs, and that's like the main sport. Like you know, there's not pretty much nothing else. It's super cold here, and like when there's like really big hockey games, like people will like riot. Like if we lose or if we win, like people will riot downtown and stuff. I want to know in Germany though, is the hockey of Montreal like the arm wrestling of Germany? Like do you guys take it that seriously?
I guess we can. It's nearly like the same in Canada, but our hockey is at the moment football or soccer, because
Okay.
you know, in 2014 Germany got a world champion, a World Cup winner on football, and now in Germany everything is focused on football, everything. So it's like your hockey is our football, and there are not too many. I guess even the arm wrestling stuff is like nearly the same like in the US and Canada and Germany. So it's like
Oh wow.
we don't have too many competitors in Germany, and I guess so there are 80 million Germans, and the arm wrestling family in Germany has maybe like 400 sportsmen. So not too many arm wrestlers in Germany as well as like in North America, and like the holy grail of arm wrestling, or like the edge of arm wrestling is like in Eastern Europe, like Georgia, Russia, Ukraine, or Bulgaria.
Yeah.
I guess even this countries are more used to strange sports and to fighting sports. Like I was in December, I was on the Balkan in Serbia, and then I made there like a competition, and there were much more serious arm wrestler in this countries than in Germany. So I guess my country is more focused on football and handball and stuff, and like a team sports, strange
team sports,
But it's like I try my best to be like an ambassador for the sport and to let the sport grow. So that's everything I can do. I mean, I cannot, in my opinion, the same guys like in Germany or like in US and Canada. I guess if you would have like more sportsmen, for example, in Germany we would have like 10,000 arm wrestlers, would be great. But I'm that serious that the same guys who are now on top in Germany would be like on top than always. So of course, it's like the sport is finding the people, or the people finding the sport. And I guess if you're like talented and interested in the sport, you will find the sport of arm wrestling. But it's not like that everyone is doing arm wrestling in Germany. So I would love this, but it's
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I find it's a shame because it's like, in my opinion, it's one of the most badass sports. Like it's like
Yeah.
who has the strongest like arm? Like who's like, it's like, to me it's
And
cool.
it's and I can guarantee you there's no sport on the world that have longer body contact than an arm wrestling. I guess there's nothing like, because there's no sport where you're holding your opponent like 2 minutes. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes punching and stuff on, but it's I mean I can say that's not, you cannot compete with team sport or with hockey or with football and
That's
some
it.
stuff, but especially like in the last years there came so many strange sport on, like darts is quite big in Europe at the moment, maybe in Canada as well. So darts or some or bowling and
Bowling,
so
yeah.
yeah. So there are
Yeah.
so many sports, or especially like the gymnastics stuff. How often do you watch gymnastics? I do it just on the Olympic Games, but it's not so big in media. And I mean, in arm wrestling stuff, it's like the good stuff is you have like one against another one. So and you honestly you know exactly who wins or who loses. It's like a gladiator stuff, and I like this expression, and I like this kind of direct competition, one against one, and you cannot hide it behind your team. So that's a good thing, I think, and I hope it's getting
Yeah.
bigger. And especially like the whole, for example, hockey is great, but maybe like you have also like a break between the one third. There's thirds in hockey, yeah. One first third, second third, third third. Or how's it working?
I don't understand. You want to repeat that?
Um, so you have breaks between the
The
playing of
quarters.
of course,
Yeah, quarters. Yeah,
excellent. That's that one. And I would like to do, if you want to promote the whole arm wrestling stuff, why not doing like an arm wrestling match between two courts or between two halves of football. So that's always like,
yeah. Yeah.
because
Exactly.
I did arm wrestling matches in football stadiums. I did arm wrestling matches in a box ring. So between two boxing matches, we had like a big boxing event, and then we had like first boxing fight, second boxing fight, then an arm wrestling fight. Why not? If it's
No, why not?
half hour super match, brilliant stuff, and the people are getting crazy. And after 20 minutes, you know who won and who lose.
Because that's the thing. It's like, now that you mention it, it's like, I feel like that's the reason why it's not mainstream. It's because it's not a team sport. But
Yeah,
not necessarily. Actually, there are mainstream sports that are like MMA or something, you know. But
yeah, yeah,
I think the main reason why it's not like mainstream is because the matches are too short. I think that's why. Because it's like, I've watched some of your matches, like 5 seconds, boom, the guy's done, you know.
sure.
So it's like, and if you're doing rounds, like the total amount of like time, let's say if you do like, 5 rounds or something, it's like it could only be like a minute at times, you know, if you add it all. So
Yeah,
maybe that's
also
why.
it depends on, because for example it's like as you told, like when you watch like a world championship and you have like 40 guys in your class, you have to save your power. That's the whole thing, and that's why you do it not for show. You do it, you like try to win as fast as possible, because you have 35 guys waiting for you in the next rounds. And but
Exactly.
especially like the whole stuff, if you're walking on rounds, like as I told you, I was in Serbia and we pulled like for five rounds, and then you can try some different techniques, because you have just one opponent, and after this the fight is over. And that's why you can try from round to round which technique is working, and it's good like for the crowd, because they know what's the final score at the moment and who won the round with the whole stuff. And yeah, but it depends really on if you have like a tournament mode or if you like a super match mode. But and the whole stuff. It's like, I guess MMA is also like a good exercise, good example which you bring on. But I guess you will not see your 12-year-old son punching against each other in the face. So that's why. And with arm wrestling, it's like also like fighting sports, but it's not as
It's not super like violent, like it's
like
just
super violent, yeah, as MMA or like even as classic boxing. So but the whole stuff, it's like you have many guys who are starting in arm wrestling, and then because you need a lot of time to get some successes, to get succeeded, and sometimes you need like 1 year to win a match, and that's most of the guys are stopping it. And it's not like Canada that I won with a team, but I played just 2 minutes because I just began, and that's in arm wrestling. Oh yeah, I had 2 fights, and I just began, and then you need some time to win matches. Yeah.
so last question is where do you where do you see yourself right now in like your arm wrestling career? Like what are your goals like for like all time?
Um,
What do you want your legacy to be? Like all time goals where it's like, hey, you'd be really happy if you did this.
yeah. So in general, because I started in 2004, so now it will be my 14th year in my career, and from the titles or from the goals, I reached nearly everything. So I won 10 German championships and many international competitions. I got a silver medal on the World Cup in 2013. So nearly like from the goals, I nearly got everything what I wanted to, and the whole stuff. Because last year I was off my area called for my job, so I couldn't train properly. And I hope this year I'm getting back more to serious training and sparring with my club. And then this year, first competition will be on the 27th of January, so quite close. I will go to the Netherlands for the international competition. And yeah, this year's European Championships and my travel to the US and Canada, where I want to do like a super match maybe against the Canadian or American champion. That's the goal. And yeah, but in general, I would love to see to really see the arm wrestling sport growing and to be like an ambassador for the whole sport. So that's nearly like one of my goal because I love traveling. I was in Japan, I was in Australia, South Korea, all over Europe, South America, and of course North America. And I would love to do some more television stuff and to see more kids starting with arm wrestling. So that's the whole stuff.
Yeah, I think you're a great ambassador for the sport, man. Like, cause there's certain sports where I feel like they just give a negative vibe to people, and like I feel like if you want to bring more people into the sport, it's about being like happy, being positive, and just being very
Yeah,
inviting.
exactly.
And that's what
Yeah.
you do. Like it's like you bring like a nice vibe to it. It's very like it's like kind of like this guy Johnny Candido. He's a power lifter, and like
Yeah.
he just makes it look fun. Like everybody like they watch his channel like wow, I want to do a meet now. But then there's other powerlifters where it's just like kind of like they kind of drive people away from the sport. So it's like
Yeah, and the whole stuff, cause with my genius conditions, like, cause I guess like internet is sometimes can be very rude guys and talking rubbish. But I also got a bunch of emails from time to time where, oh yeah, one of the most warm heating or most of the warm-hearted email I got from a mom from New Mexico, and there was like a little guy, 4 years old, her son, who was like also like a bigger arm on the right. And he saw me on television, and from that day he was just running around the flat and saying, "Oh, I'm getting an arm wrestler because I saw the German Hellboy on television." That's the good stuff. There's many negativity in the whole internet stuff and so on, and many trolls, but I'm really getting so much energy out of this, and I try to inspire some people to make the best out of their condition, or like it's like my whole goal. It's like to inspire people and to get people or to get people seeing what they can make out of their condition. That's everything you can do. And if they're starting with arm wrestling and not with hockey, I'm also happy.
no, for sure. So so I guess we'll wrap it up there. You know, I hope all the viewers enjoyed something. I hope you guys learned a thing or two about arm wrestling, getting bigger forms, improving your technique, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna post post some links, in the description box if you want to like contact him. But just right now, like, where do you want people to find you? Like Instagram, where's the main place people could like reach out to you or just like follow you or?
Yeah, it's like I'm pretty do much stuff at the moment on Instagram. It's the real Hellboy is my channel, and I'm also like on Facebook, also like an official channel. It's Matthias Hellboy Schlitte, and website is also in German and in English. So and so I'm pretty easy to find. Just Google my name, and I'm very happy if some of you guys follow me on Instagram and on Facebook, and I will try to keep some or to give you some advices, or just shoot me like a private message, and I'm trying to answer everything in German or in my basic English here. And
nice, bro.
give you some things. And yeah, I'm easy to find, and I'm happy for any contact, any like, any follow, whatever. And thank you for watching.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time out your day, and stay in touch, and good luck on everything, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, ciao.